On live. Hey guys, you got Lady Hippy at the bar again. I'm supposed to take Sundays off. That is my little black and white rescue that we call Kit Kat. There's a story there too. You probably don't want to hear it. I hope everybody else's Sunday's going better than mine. Um, let's see, how are we doing today? Well, southern border is still unsecured. Rafah is still going to be under attack by Israel. Egypt has put up one enormous, ginormous best fence like ever. They really should be followed. They should send the engineers out there to see them. So they put something like that on our southern border, then puppies wouldn't be coming across so far. I thought this would style, you know. I have a little holder that at night I burn little cubes of wax in that are lavender, helps you to sleep. And of course, I turned that over. It was belted, yes, straight over the top of my new purse. All down, and this is like a diaper bag. This is not a little purse. It's a gift from my husband on Christmas from Burlington. So it's a name bag. It's extremely difficult to get dry wax off. Anybody else notice that? So that's the start of my morning. Actually, I have to feed the cats inside and outside as soon as I get up because they wake me. There's no sleeping in for me. And I couldn't sleep, so I couldn't go sleep till about 1 o'clock this morning. And they was pouncing on my butt at 6. So, yeah, no wonder I spilled wax all over the place. I have to go shopping. And he knows that the explicit word to fire that sentence was have to. I hate when I have to do it. But Robert's home, so anything heavy he'll grab for me. And he didn't have to go, bless his heart. So I don't see any need for him to have to run around and do that and all that because he's still got the backyard. He's cleaning up and a tree we're removing and caught the neighbor trying to look past the RV and the drive to see the house and the cats in the backyard. It's just killing her. I was going out for my mail. I watched her suddenly look down at the ground and start picking up rocks on the curb. I was like, yeah, I bought that. I got kids as old as you. Mm-hmm. Anybody shouldn't think of that. She was one of my grandson's teachers. And he remembers her very well. Not a nice lady at all. He hated her and her class. But she was out there asking me about my grandson. And did he ever get to go in the military? Or is he still in? I mean, I kept thinking to myself, I'm going to ask at some point here, how many kids you got? Should I get in your business? If I didn't, I was a nice neighbor, and I answered the questions. And, well, isn't that your son's home? I said, no, not since we bought it 11 years ago. He's living in a $250,000 home in Grovetown, which is why we bought this, to give him the room and money for them to get this house financed. We had just been approved for a lake house. I think it was at Lake Sinclair or Black Champagne. There's so many around here, my husband would have to say. So, she was trying to find out about the cats. And I said, we've caught people dropping them off here. We know there are several domestic cats that come for food because that one of the men had been neutered. So how'd you know that? It's like, oh, my husband knew. And I just left it at that. It's like, this lady she is so up in your face and in your business and you're trying nicely to answer and not slap her stupid and say, did you learn any nerve? Are you just one big nerve that gets in your neighbor's face? I didn't ask you nothing about your shit. I'm not that interested. Let me check that again. No, I'm not bloody interested at all. Don't like the woman. But she thinks I keep forgetting her. This is also cute. Apparently, she did manage to mention one thing, which was that she had gone and moved to Aiken for a little while last year. And I thought to myself, oh, no wonder it was so nice here last year. I'm a good neighbor. I don't give anybody any grief at all. I miss my Angela, who lived next door to me. She had a heart attack and died a few years back. And she's in the cul-de-sac. Somebody else has now bought her home. It's a couple with 2 children and a dog. Lovely family. They're all rude as hell. Oh no, the parents, if they even find out that we're outside, they bring them kids in the house. They don't speak to us. But they did call the local authority about Robert parking his truck for a few hours here. They hadn't been here a week when he parked that truck here for a few hours. And then he got back in it and left. Excuse me. But, instead of talking to us, they called the authorities who showed up. And of course, Robert had already left. And now that they're on the road, they're having fits, of course, can't park here. But they tried to make us an ugly mess, and they hadn't been here very long at all. And so I'm waiting for them to get stupid again. I figured the odds are about 80-20, 84. People have not enough to do in their lives, apparently. I mean, get a job, read a book, look at TV, try to figure out your own crap first. None of your business what I got in my yard. None of your business what I'm doing. That ain't your money. It's not. If you can't help, shut the hell up and stay off my property. This is why it's no trespassing sign there. Because if you walk your butt on my property, I will press charges. Just to freaking piss you off like you do me. But I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of knowing you piss me off yet. No. I'm sorry. Yeah. So my day has been starting bright since my day ended last night. I love that part. I actually ended my night at 1 a.m. I started it at 6. And all this has been going through my head. And I really hate it. If people have a problem, say so. I do. If I have a problem with you, I'm not going to say it behind your back. I'm not a coward. And if I have a problem with you, I'll tell you. And I'll tell you why I have a problem with you. And if you don't like that, well, tough cookies. That's all I got to say about that one. Tough cookies. Get thicker skin. Learn it's not your right to screw with your neighbors. It's just not. I don't even know I don't know what your house looks like even. And you're 30, 40 feet from me. Nope. I don't look at my neighbors, bother my neighbors. Angela herself and my deceased neighbor came to me, and we used to walk a lot, and it was great fun. And it really broke my heart to lose him. She had been very ill for many years that I've lived here, for about 6 or 7, and then she passed when I wasn't home. I don't know who found her, bless her, but she had died of a heart attack on the staircase. And I'm waiting, like I said, for those new neighbors to get stupid again, so I can let them know they probably have a ghost in their house. And she and I used to talk about that all the time. And sometimes you'll see the dim in here, and I swear that's Angela. These lights never used to dim, and now they do. And they all have the bulbs, so that's not it. And my husband checked the electrics. He's got the gadgetry, and he can do anything. That's why they call him the Geiger. So that's not it. Never know. I managed to rescue a few plants that I know that they had just set outside to die of hers. She had given me a plant that she made herself. And thank God it did not get destroyed when it took out the hot house. I lost a lot, but the few that we had saved that were Angela's, and the one she made specially for me, they're still here. And I still have my grandson's birth plant that started out. It was just news in this paper. So I don't even take it out of the greenhouse anymore. It's too big. So, sometimes Robert will take it out for me because it does look nice on the front porch. And I like a lot of greenery around. I like the colors and so forth. During the winter here, it's really bleak looking. Everything is gone. And we used to have that pristine white snow. Of course, I hate snow. That's why I moved here. Some of the reasons. At least I was getting further south, I assure you. I don't know how they do it over there. And I was born and raised there. I don't know how. See, now we have the commercials that come on. You can hear this sucker outside. But if you're actually playing music in the house, you can't. It's barely in the background. I can hear Robert's TV better than I can hear that. He knows I'm live in his Sunday, so he's grouchy. Yeah, again, that's just so. I have things that I got to do today that I don't want to do today. Um, then again, into the breach, as they say. Mm, excuse me. I decided to have a little bit of Irish coffee this morning. Let's see. Other than waxing my purse, trying to get all this stuff down. It was funny too with the neighbor, by the way. She reached out to take my hand and shake my hand. And I really don't think about the fact of how much jewelry I wear or, you know, my nails are done because they are. I'm very vain. And this time I finally used these nails myself. I do my own because I had bought those for Halloween, which is almost coming around again as fast as year's going. So I didn't use them. I said, I'm just, instead of getting another set because nowadays things are tighter and we're still learning how to deal with a rigid budget with very little left over because he made good money when he worked, of course. And he could make so much per year, even though he was on disability. No, he was on Social Security by the time he went to work. In any event, he checked with Social Security and all that. So he knew he could not make over a certain amount. And he didn't have to work that way the whole year. And the person who employed him is a local here. And he's a great guy. Beautiful eyes. He's got the most beautiful eyes. Jealous eyes. One of those you look at him and go, oh, that should have been on a girl. It's like, I don't know. It's like, give me a break. I checked and I see, even though we are for entertainment purposes only, I still need you to like, share, and those things. See, now it gets too loud sometimes. And then it will pick up you can sit on the couch or go walking around the house with this remote and it will turn it down, turn it off, change the channel. I'll be in the kitchen and do it. But let me get here at the bar, which is adjacent to the kitchen. I got to do the thing and turn around because for some reason, and it only does it when I'm on live, is I have to go check it again because it's either too loud or it's asking if I'm still watching. And it goes up and down. So you have to forgive me for going back and forth because for right now, instead of dropping videos, I kind of like just a little music in the background and leave it at that. I've seen some more of the Harvard protests by these kids. Have they seen TV? Or are they just getting different videos than I am? I think I've said this every morning for like weeks. But if that was my kids doing that, which they would never try that, because that's not who they are either. But I would be out there slapping the piss out of them, and then I'd go after the teacher, and then I finally get to the president. And these people need to be fired. And these people need to be. You got a problem with the United States? You shouldn't have come here. Revoke their citizenship, put them on a plane with their burqas, and send them back. If it was up to me, I'd strap them in a parachute, toss them out. You have the right to do this crap in my country. You just don't. You have a right to be an immigrant in my country and become a member of my country. Say you are an American. I hate these other little titles, they give out. Oh, it's a Black American. It's a white American. What the heck ever. If you're an American, be one or the other. If you're a Palestinian American, go home. Go home. Because you come to the wrong place. This isn't your home if you're going to protest for them. You're not protesting over there because they're shooting you. I know. They were protesting last night. Your family probably was there. And what happened? Oh, I know. Nobody else? Yeah. Hamas shot him and killed at least one. I don't know how many were injured. They've shown on television live these guys intercepting the UN and other places that have sent food. There's enough food that they were sitting on the trucks moving out of to feed the Gazans for 6 months. But they shot a kid who went up to one of those trucks to ask for a bag of flour. They shot the kid and killed him. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. The Americans won't take this. If you were in my country, it'd be like 9/11. And if you were up to me, it'd be no quarter. They're already training the next set of terrorists. The only way to stop this is to take out the terrorists. The only reason that the Palestinians are displaced and have nowhere to go, so far that even Egypt has put up, concertina wire, and they've built this concrete building like a concentration camp. I don't know what that's about. You wouldn't have this. There's almost 2 million of you in Rafah. You can't go forward. You can't go back. There's nothing left. Although they're saying that some people are going back home. There's no home there. It's gone. And they won't let you stay there. And they have every right to say until the terrorists are gone, and there's only citizens that aren't trying to kill us, will we stop this? Because we can't stop. Now they've already accumulated almost 600 soldiers' deaths. This is not men. This is men and women. Okay, those women are right there, and that makes me mad when I find things out like that. They're giving their lives for their country, while the UN is trying to take them to the World Court for war crimes, for defending themselves. I don't think so, but that's what they're doing. At what point do people go serious to God? At what point do these presidents say, you can't do this? This is hate speech. It's not allowed. Freedom of speech is allowed, but this is hate speech, and it's already been addressed, and you can't do that. And you certainly can't do it on our multi-million-dollar complex of a university, but they haven't done that. In fact, they got up there and were rude as hell to the Senate, who brought them in to ask them, excuse me, why are you preaching to kill Israelis? What's up with that? Well, that's free speech. No, it's not. It's not. Only one president resigned, and I give her credit. At least she took some responsibility for the kind of shit that's going on. Excuse my French. But it's enough. It shouldn't be happening on any country, let alone mine. My father was a World War II veteran. His brother was a World War II veteran. His other two brothers didn't live through the war. Mm-hmm. So they died to give Palestinians the right to do hate speech and kill people on my campuses? No, they did not die for that. They died for freedom. And that's what they have here. They have freedom. If they were still in Palestine trying that crap, they'd be shot. They can wear that freaking flag all day long. They would still shoot them in the face. So I know people have seen this. Y'all have seen the newsreels. Even if you're watching CNN and them, if it's a slow day, they'll actually talk about it. I don't like CNN. I don't like ABC, NBC, CBS, CNN. I don't care what 3-digit moniker you put on those guys. They're political channels. That's all they are. I like to jump in once in a while because it's kind of funny. I want to see if the giggle girl is ready. I like her. She's fun as a VP. I call her the giggle girl. She's like dumb as a rock. I'm sorry, she is. Hopefully they won't take the post down because I'm getting just a wee bit political, so I better back off that subject, right? I haven't even been able to watch comedy because it's just like I get angry. And then I go to the paranormal. And I saw some things there that were new. That was interesting. Again, they're getting a lot of captures of things. One of them, his 2 children, was in his apple orchard. This was in the UK. And he was, of course, filming this nature walk he was taking his children on. You can see the children jumping into puddles and stuff. Yeah, cute little babies. Probably about 5, 6, 7. The other's a little older, maybe 9. And they're walking along. And then the youngest goes, "What's that, Daddy, in the tree?" So he moves his camera and he's looking at the tree. And he starts zooming in because he can't see. He said, "No, honey, I can't. I see something, but I can't tell what it is." So now they've approached the tree at the base and he's blowing it up. And you can see this in the video. And suddenly this thing has like 4 dragon wings and it sits up and it's got arms. It's got a head. And then it stands up and it's got feet and legs. It's like a little person with 4 wings. I think they call them fairies. Had these funny feet, like ski feet, long feet. You can find it. If anybody wants to see it, throw it in the comments and I'll put the link in there for you. Um, and his reaction was priceless. He was like, "Ooh," and grabbed his kids and took off. Meanwhile, I mean, he got the best footage he could get. This thing looked at it, realized what was going on. And I believe they understood what a camera was as well, and it flew away. Um, I've seen footage of what looks to be gnomes. And, I call mine Novio. I've got it. He's my Novio. I've got one on the front porch when the plants out because I just love those little things. And again, I call mine Nomeo. These things I saw, they were alive. They didn't bet this tall, but they were out walking around the gardens and stuff. And these were cameras, security cameras that caught this. I love these static security cameras. They don't move. And if they really do move back and forth, it's in a way that it doesn't shake and all that. Got much better at putting them up. Yeah. I'm still wondering about that phone call from that first space flight in 73. Anyway, I get off subject like that all the time. So if anybody's out there, I still need those likes again. I hate to bug y'all. And I know that some people do not get YouTube. So I'm trying my darndest to make sure I also drop it on Facebook. But again, I don't use TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. It's hard enough for me to find time for Facebook. Don't ask me where my time goes because it was like yesterday, and my husband was like, "What do we want to do for dinner?" I was like, "Dinner," and it was after 3. I was like, "Oh my god!" I thought it was like 11:30. Where does the time go? You get like this age. And time seems to not only accelerate, but like a speeding bullet. I mean, it's just gone. Your hair will flutter in the wind when it passes. I'm like, where were days like this when I was 20 and it was great outside and I could have run to the water park? It used to take forever. I used to work about always 6 to 2 or 7 to 3 because I was basically a single mother as well, even though Robert and I were together for years before we were married. But and he's always treated my son as a son, and same with his daughters. We love our kids, and then we're real proud of all of them because they really had to overcome obstacles in their way. That's life, and I think we did a good job. Anybody that has children, and they don't have to do that Raymond. Everybody loves Raymond thing. They're over there every day or every other day, every weekend. I don't do that. I don't think that's right to them. I remember not having time to even breathe right, and they're in their 40s, and that's what I remember too. By the let me think 50 something, we couldn't even go out anymore because there was just no time and no money. You didn't want to waste $300, and it's not. It's about that's what it would cost where we used to go. It wasn't cheap. Yeah, I mean, drinks nowadays are like $20, and still Robert will take me out. So, I try to stick it to, and you'll get one. And with the tip, it'll be about $65. So you get 3 drinks and a tip out of that now. It's the fun part. I'm writing notes down this morning. I was talking to my husband, to Robert, and we were trying to figure out what we needed. I didn't, I try to make sure when I go, I can what we can because gas is so ridiculously high. And my car is it does very good on gas. I've got a little Chevy Cruze he bought me. And that's not the problem. I mean, he drives a big truck and airline. But, and I never do. That's the good thing about insurance. You get any of that back. We've not had an accident ticket, nothing for years, decades actually for me. At like almost four decades coming up on. Yeah, I never had a problem. They didn't give me any of our money back. They're not saying, well, you don't drive. It was full. Our reserve was full. Made sure of that. And yet they got rid of that. They've got 11 million. They count 11 million in. They actually sent about 8,500 back. ICE did. I'm sure they just circled back. Why not? They're going to be given a phone, free clothes. They're going to put them in a hotel. They get money. It's like I said, I told Robert, it's like, let's go to Texas, come across the I could use a vacation. I take that free hotel room and run with it. And the bad thing about that is it's being paid for, these hotels that they put people on. But they've showed a couple of them. They had to throw them out after 5 months. I don't know if it wasn't getting paid again or what. But the rooms that these people were staying in were trashed completely. And I used to run a hotel. And I tell you now, those rooms had to be stripped, even the carpet, repainted, everything had to be done. I mean, that thing had to be taken down to bare bones. Mattresses thrown out. Yeah. That's how bad they did these rooms. And it wasn't one or two rooms. Um, my general manager would have went nuts, and I was the manager. I used to get a kick out of him. He was an Indian, and I just loved him. I adored him. I actually ran the place whenever they had to go on vacation to India, and they would bring me stuff back from India. The grandmother was always feeding, and she was a great little thing. She's a little bird. I'm only 5'2", and she was like we do here. So I used to take her and run her to the mosque there in Perry, so she could go worship, and she wouldn't have to walk. Not only she would walk, but especially in the heat of summer or in the dead of winter, I would take her, and one of her friends would then drop her off. And these are some hard-working people. I know. We all used to joke that they owned all the 7-Elevens, but they probably do. They work round the clock. This is why the dark circuit. They don't sleep. They do eat, but they have a mattress. They had a mattress in the boss's. I call it the boss's office, so that whoever was taking my place, and I worked from 3 to 11 generally. I liked the afternoons and evenings, and then I would be off. So, and I think I had at least 2 days a week off. I'm not sure. I might have only had one. But I actually worked 2 jobs anyway while I was doing that. But, so whoever took over from me would have to wake up, come down, and check everything, redo the drawer, redo the computer, and then they could rest until somebody came. And somebody was always coming at 3 or 4 in the morning because it happened when I ran the place. And I always took the suite, which was right next to the office. And we had to rig a system finally, so it would ring when I was in the hotel room and not in the office or at the desk. So that was fun. So you didn't know where to sleep with everything on. And I'm very vain, so it's a shower and makeup every day, kind of thing. So you're hoping nobody's wanting to check out or anything. So you're getting up at 4 and you're getting off at 12, maybe. For that, like every time we did that for like 2 weeks, I never got any rest. There's always somebody coming out. And they were cute about it. And he really hated that when he was there and running the desk, because they would say, well, I didn't get here till 3. Can't I have a late checkout? And he'd always go, no, I'm sorry, we can't do that. And I always go, oh, sure, coming out 3. We didn't put anybody in rooms till 3. If they weren't putting a room till 3. Excuse me. So I didn't see any problem in allowing them to check out late. And it was usually our truck drivers, of course. He was also there. Everybody's gotten very inventive at billing. They had a problem with me because I wouldn't do this. Do you have any cards? Do you have any coupons? Are you a member of ARP? And they would go, yes. And then he would give them the price. It was the regular price, but he'd tell them that was taken off. So be careful when you go out to those hotels. Don't tell them you have it until they quote that room price. And for double measure, I make them show me the room, and I check the sheets and the mattresses and stuff, And I used to do the laundry as well. I mean, there's times in any hotel where it's quiet and there's no one checking in or checking out. And if you're running it for 2 weeks, somebody's got to oversee the laundry, because the laundry's went with them to India. So I had, again, many hats, just like you. I love that. It's still in my control, so I'm good with that. As long as I control it, I can deal with it. I don't like have to report to somebody. I mean, yeah, I can. That's okay, but I have to run what I'm doing personally. If it's a secretary job, if it's a hospital job, if it's the motels, I'm like the next step before God to you guys. Robert, we can hear that down here real well. Sorry, guys. I thought about walking over, but I didn't really want to stop and get this done because I got so much to do. And he's in there turning that thing up like he's deaf. I keep telling him to have his hearing checked. He won't do it. He just turns it up more, which is annoying if you're here in the living room trying to watch television, because he's upstairs with his at full volume. So you can hear it literally outside. So you can't watch television inside except him, because that's all you can hear. And to me, it's an annoying as shit, because you can't hear what you're watching. You can hear his crap, which you can tell annoys me greatly. And he knows that. We've been married 34 years, though. Mm-hmm. He's going to have a nice day. Yeah. You believe that hands in a hand? Yeah, no. Mm-mm. Like I have. Yeah, I'm going to take him down. I'm going to one way or the other. Idiots already asked me about dinner. You didn't get a phone call. You didn't hear from him for a week when he was in a truck. Now suddenly he wants to know if you want breakfast, what you want to do about dinner. And generally you're not asked until it's like, oh, this is Denny's. I can get you anything you want in 3 minutes, which again gets my hackles up. Nobody had a problem with what I was eating. Nobody knew what I was eating. Nobody gave a crap. So they wonder why they get it back in deuces. Come on, ladies. It's not just me. I'm not anybody's doormat. I never will be, and he knows that. So he knows I'm about to come up there and punch him in the mouth. So the best thing for him would be to turn that crap down, which he did. Stand up for your rights, ladies. Don't let him do that crap. I love that. I take out the trash. And I got to call the mayor. We have to have a ticker tape parade here. And if you don't say something like "thank you" or I don't have to do whatever, then they got an attitude again. You've already made dinner, cleaned the kitchen, done all this, and then they tell you, "What did you do? You weren't doing nothing." No, I wasn't sitting on my crapping ass all day. You can say that if you want to, but we all know that's not true. You got beautiful weather out there. Still got a garden shed that's in pieces out there. Get off your ass and do something. Maybe you would be bored. Maybe you wouldn't have to turn TV up so that the neighbors can watch it without turning their sound on. Yeah, that just rubs my butt raw when he does that kind of stupidity. The man's 69 years old. Grow the hell up. I shouldn't have to say that, especially on live air, to say, shut up, you're too loud. 69. I bet his mother's proud. Knew her. Good woman. We tell our children they have to have manners, and they don't need them? Yeah, the hell they don't. I don't suppose I'm being very entertaining today, am I? Except for a few of the family that might see this. they might think that's fun. I'm like, I'm going to kill you. It's the red hair. I always do say he's the calm to my storm because I will jump in a nanosecond straight from me to bitch. No stopping in the middle. No pass and go. Just nanosecond. And those that know me, run. It's my kids. The smart ones, like my son, my daughter, they would disappear. Didn't matter what it was, they didn't want to know. Just they were gone. Even as adults, they'll say to their kids, my grandkids, just stop. Grandma's mad. Look at her face. Listen to her voice. She's mad. You're going to get hurt in a minute. They were right. They were smart to say that, Tim. It did keep them seated in their chairs. I don't have any trouble with my granddaughter. Ever. Never. She's always been the sweetest little thing on earth. It's just a piece of sunshine. She really is. My grandson, I didn't have too much trouble with, but I had him basically raised him myself because he'd get screwed up at school and they'd send him to me and I'd make him clean a week. So that worked out well. And by then I'm in my 50s. He didn't go in the military until my early 60s. So, and now he's a veteran too. He's an Army vet like Grandma. He said he did it just like Grandma. So he's now a veteran. He's a good boy. But especially boys, go through these things where they're, especially coming out of the military. I was the same way. Nothing could tell me nothing. No, they just don't do it. I had one time flown into O'Hare. I was almost 21, but not quite. And we all just carried our military ID back in the day. And I didn't have 15 set of luggage. I had a duffel bag. And I was in full dress uniform every time because I'd catch that plane coming straight from work. And I worked for officers, so I had full dress. I was hardly ever in fatigues after that. So here I am in full dress, and we get to the airport. My brother's not there yet. It's a couple hours for him to get there, even though he's in Chicago. It takes a couple hours to get to O'Hare. And so I go to the bar, and I'm sitting down, and they see my ID. I'm sorry, you're still a few months too young. I'm like, too young for what? When I left, it was 18. I was drinking cherry. I was 21. I think it was like 5 weeks, 6 weeks. And she said, "You're not 21." I said, "No, I'm not. Thank you." And what's that got to do with the price of coffee? Well, we don't serve anyone under 21. I said, "So I can die for my country? You can't give me a drink for it?" You got a manager around here somewhere? I'd like to talk to him. This is a new thing for me. And I was a cocky broad, I'll tell you. Same as I am now. And that man come out, he's an Army veteran. He's a Vietnam vet. And he saw from the uniform, he saw the uniform right away, of course. And he came up and said, "What can I do for you, Sergeant?" And he even knew what rank I was. And I said, "This young lady tells me I can't get a drink, that I'm a few weeks shy of 21. When does that change that? What are y'all going to do about that? Because I don't want to die for y'all and not be 21. When he finished laughing, he explained to the bartender and lady, whoever she was, that all soldiers would be served. And if there was a problem with that, he could deal with it. And so I don't want to cause any trouble for her or anyone else. It's just that, if I can eat a bullet for you guys, just like you, then I should be treated as an adult and not as, you're not old enough, point thing. And like I said, I was cocky and I meant what I said. And I drank the rest of the time waiting for my brother another couple hours, and he wouldn't take any money. So I did leave a generous tip. He wouldn't let me pay for the drinks. I mean, my brother shows up, and I haven't been home in a couple of years because I've been back and forth to Germany. And so he comes in, and I'm smoking a cigarette and having a drink, and he just melts down. Snatches a cigarette. You're not supposed to have those. Are you drinking? It wasn't the teenager that he remembered. And he knew that. I'd been home a couple of times, but it'd been through some major things. So I can see where he might not like that. I was mad at him throwing my cigarettes away. That made him buy me one. He never did smoke. And I say I've quit, and I have my cigarillos still. And generally, I don't smoke that much of one all day. But usually nowadays, since I've been up here, and then I get back and forth feeding from this guy when I'm on live, and it annoys me greatly, as you can tell, because I'm trying to be entertaining, because I need the likes, I need the shares, I need you to subscribe. If there's something that you want to talk about or you don't want me to talk about, feel free. I got thick skin. I'll probably make you a joke. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Well, maybe not. Just so I had nothing in news today that was good to share. And I had nothing in the house that was ready to be shared, even drowning my purse in wax, which again was fun to get off. You'd think that would just peel, and it don't. No. And this is like a quilted light purse. So I had a wardrobe malfunction real early this morning. Excuse me. That was good. It's the coffee. In any event, I didn't know if I was actually going to try to put a whole hour in, it being Sunday. And at the same time, I look at night so that I can answer anybody that did pop up on chat, any new friend requests. And so it usually takes me a couple of hours running back and forth. And then I will see my video, because I hadn't seen it yet except for when I was doing it. And it's different when you see yourself on TV and you go, "Oh my God." It's not true what they say about the camera adding 10 pounds. It adds 40. It really does. And I film on a big screen. And of course, we have big screen TVs. So when I put one up, it's like a wall of me. And I'm like, oh my God. It's, how big did my nose get over? It's not easy for a vain woman to get up and do this stuff. I'll tell you what. I've also been going through some teaching through YouTube on videos and how to grab them and how to do that, because I'm never going to show a whole video. If I do grab them, it's because you asked me to, and I will probably put just a bit of it in if I have permission or if it's allowed. And I'm learning all this as I go along. These two sets, I have two sets so that I can do interviews. and they were gifts from my husband and my son. And because I had expressed an interest in doing a podcast on YouTube, that I thought it was a grand way of meeting people and reminding us all that it's we the people, we're the country, we're the ones they're stealing from, we're the ones they're giving billions of dollars away. Did y'all vote for that? I didn't. Did they tell any of you they was going to do that with your money? No, they didn't. No. Are my veterans not sleeping in the street in a hotel? No, they're not. But who's in the hotel that we're paying for? And yes, people, wake up. They've militarized the IRS, which is Eisenhower was saying, don't even let them do that. So the police have been militarized. You cannot fight City Hall. They're right about this. You can look at what happened to the people on January 6th who were jailed for months before they were even charged. I don't even know if they did charge them or if they ever got out because it's just not there. And even I would have to do a deep dive to try to find all that out. And I'm just praying they did. But there's no justice system. No, there's no justice because this person is rich. We would take Hunter Biden as an example. And gained his money illegally. And instead of throwing him in jail and his property and funds frozen and confiscated, he's still running around making fun of the Senate, who's called for him to appear. So he goes on days he's not been called to appear to the Senate to go. And the only thing they haven't done with this equipment is make sure you can't reach out and tap somebody. Because I would. Slap him once, slap him twice, and slap him again. I mean, come on. These guys, Nancy Pelosi made $179,000 a year. Okay, as a member of the House, $179,000. What's she worth now? She's worth $21 million. She would have had to work, I think they said 168 years to get that, whatever it was, to make that much money. They all have that. All of this old school that's sitting up there still fighting and still doing this federal thing is still Trump in court and being charged enormous things for things that he's not guilty of, and they know so. But that's okay. They can still apparently do that. The DA that's in Chicago that's supposed to have been fighting, in Georgia rather, at Fulton County, which is Atlanta, that are supposed to be suing Trump over him and Kemp or somebody getting into it with the governor wanting more votes, and this shouldn't be something you should do. Like, I don't think his exit was well done, but again, so I popped in on this because this was I was surprised. This was a DA. She's on the stand, and she's literally attacking the attorney that's asking her questions and turning the question back on them, and she's rude as hell. And not only that, but in one day I watched about an hour of the courtroom because where she was acting, and I was like, I even got my first divorce myself, fired 3 attorneys after $6,000 went out the window on phone calls with jerks. So that's a story. And any of that. The judge then stops the attorneys suddenly. Almost every question. She's already answered that, move on. She's already answered that, move on. And she said that she paid this attorney that she was had put on the case and was also a lover of while he was married, which caused his divorce, $960,000, almost $1 million to work on this case, whatever it was he was doing, God only knows. They were taking trips to the Bahamas, Belize, but she was paying for that. Well, it's not any of your bank statements. We don't even show except your money deposit for something. I don't think she said she didn't have a checking account. So I don't know what they were checking. But she didn't have a checking account. She was like her father had raised her. She always kept the money at home. So whenever she needed, like the $690,000 or $960,000, whatever it is that she paid the attorney, she paid for that herself. If they went to a wine tasting, because apparently he preferred wine and she liked Grey Goose. And she's saying this from the witness chair. I don't have any money in the bank. No, I keep it at home. And she was talking $100,000 stop at a time. And that's just what they know about. And it was, she had gotten a condo. Apparently people knew where she lived. She was trying to keep this on the down low. I don't know. She's a rude little piece of work, let me tell you. Wait, you're going to tell me now how I'm supposed to pay my bills? And then this kind of crap. And the attorney is about to jump in again, and the judge goes, "No, she already answered that." I mean, stops the attorney from doing what they're trying to do, which is their job. And I saw in that hour, I said immediately, she's got the judge in her hand. So, I mean, there was no other explanation for it. I saw instantly, you knew this judge was paid for. She had him. I mean, had him good. So they finally, I don't know why it took them long to recognize that and to look into the judge's background and see what was going on there. Why hadn't he recused himself from the bench if he did know her that well? And things like that. Because again, he was stopping testimony, not from her, but from the attorney. She could rant all day long, and she would. I mean, just take 15 minutes telling him why you want. I mean, just a piece of work. I mean, there's no doubt she's guilty of theft. She had a whistleblower, which was another young DA. I forget what they called her. She was a DA, assistant DA, something. In any event, she went to this Fanny, whoever she is, Fanny. Anyway, yeah, her, the DA prosecuting Trump, who's also on trial for everything, it seems. And she's not guilty of anything. I'll tell you, you just lie. And she's calling the attorneys a liar and shit. And the judge has no problem with this. He's not stopping them. He's stopping the attorneys from speaking. He's stopping the attorneys from asking questions. If they ask the question, he'll stop the attorney and say, she's already answered it, move on. She hadn't answered crap. Then they had the boyfriend up there. Well, she's no longer the boyfriend, by the way. She broke up. Yeah. But he only went and saw her a couple of times at the condo because he had to pick up documents and stuff. Yeah, that phone wouldn't have worked. They have cell phones. They may not have a background. The bank records might not be there. Maybe she was smart enough to do it in cash, which she was. Where the cash was kept, I don't know. That's not the point. They do have cell phone records. So they do know when they were together. They knew how long they were together. They knew when they were together. So now they got that information. They knew he flat out plagiarized himself on the witness stand. And this is the attorney they paid nearly $1 million. You can see pictures or video of her doing briefings and stuff. And there he is, trot alongside her. Yeah. She looks completely different in court. She's not wearing haute couture now. She's wearing something off the Walmart rack and not doing her makeup and barely doing her hair. I mean, she looks like a greasy, hot mess up there. And rude and knows she's going to be able to get away with it. And there's no doubt in my mind, and it shouldn't be in anybody else's if they watched it for an hour, that she's more than guilty. The young DA who went to her and said that so-and-so wanted grant money, and that's not what the grant money was for, and it was illegal for them to take the grant money for their own uses. So she fired her. Yeah. Yeah. Took her 2 months. So it wouldn't look like she fired her because she said, these guys are taking the grant money. They can't do that. I'm going to have to report it, kind of thing. So that's what she was doing, was reporting it to the DA, the top DA, which was Fanny, whatever. And some say Fanny. It's Fanny. And hers is huge. Let me tell you, she's a royal. She's Karen, decidedly Karen. No doubt about that. But the judge is in her pocket, and he needs to recuse himself immediately. And she should be barred from ever practicing law again, ever. That they haven't approached that subject yet, I don't know why. I'm thinking that they should have called the judge, if you want to call him that, and explained to him that you cannot make contributions to a campaign of a DA that you are then sitting in judgment of. You have to be recused from the bench. Why didn't you do that? Which is the question they're going to answer. So I'm going to go back in today, see if they found that question answered. Probably not. It's a Sunday. And he's probably circling the wagons. Because he's one piece of work, too. Definitely a piece of work. It's all political. For no doubt it's political. And it's not supposed to be. It's a court of law. They weren't using any laws. None. They were all lying. And not even arrogant covers her. Karen doesn't really describe her really either, but you get a kind of clue. It's like Karen on steroids. So I can't see meant to be very entertaining today, other than trying to take off my husband's face. which we will have a discussion, excuse me, about later. This is another reason I hate this right now that I have to go out because the pollen is so bad. See that dimming I'm talking about? Isn't that wild? Nothing turns on or anything to make it lose power for a second like that. Nothing. And this is the only time it does it. I have it on all day. I don't know what that's about. Maybe somebody's trying to talk to me. I don't know. I was watching Dark Ghost last night. I really like him. Russian guy. Gotta look him up if you like paranormal. Oh, this guy. He's had some stuff. I mean, he's he's a very brave man. I think he's stupid, but he's brave. I'll give him that. Whole houses will be shaken apart. It's attacking him, and you can see this. He's got 5 cameras on, and he's been thrown around by something, and and you can't see it, and he doesn't leave. He continues just to try to film and get this activity. It's scary what he's run into a couple of times. I've seen him being raised up in the air like if somebody was holding you by the throat and it was 10 feet tall, we'll do this with you. And then the Bolivian men would, be splayed, arms and legs to be splayed out. And then he would be fairly kicking by this point, barely. His hands up here, but now his hands have been out. Now he's like this. I'm like, oh my God, you have to get out of there. Some of the stuff that I have seen on Dark Ghost, I never thought anything could be that bad. This guy has run into some stuff in Russia, and he's out in the middle of nowhere. It's 5 feet of snow. It's cold down there. And they had old fashioned fireplaces that they built these homes themselves, and they were built well, but they were built themselves. So it's crude, kind of. And usually can't be used. So he's got to bring all of his equipment and his own heating, his sleeping bag. He actually sleeps in some of them. Not after they've attacked him. I think he quit doing that. But he's something else, I'll tell you. That if you want to see some good catch of paranormal on film, he's the one to go see. He's really right on the top for me. He gets a lot of activity, and he documents every bit of it. Again, outstretched like that up in the air. And that's happened to him twice. I saw another video of him. He was with Tim Morozov. He's another Russian. He's also very good. And like Dark Ghost, he doesn't run. Dark Ghost keeps himself, that's why he's called Dark Ghost. He doesn't want people to know his name. Tim doesn't mind. They actually have, I think it's called Nerve Paranormal or Nerve. They have a channel where they're together. You have to look. But Tim Morozov is a friend of his, and they both do some amazing work in the paranormal realm, where even I would be running out because that's not a ghost. It'll throw a credenza or dresser right over it. I mean, throw it halfway across the room, walk a mannequin across the room. I mean, it's the craziest stuff I've seen on there. An accordion was playing. Nobody there. It was one of them hand accordions, and it's just playing. Simple. It doesn't leave. I wouldn't have been there for the second stanza. I would no, I'd have been out of there. So I really like to see those boys because they're really good. The only problem, I think they need to do some more editing because there might not be anything happening for like 20 minutes or 12 hours. And then when it shows up, it's it showed up. There's no doubt at all. Someone scratching behind mirrors. Now, when I was growing up, funerals were still held at home. The wake was, and the body was at the home. And the windows were open, even in the winter. And the mirrors were covered with black cloth. And this was, they said, so that the soul did not get trapped there. And the windows were open so that the soul would be free to leave and go to God. And I thought that was extremely interesting. And so I was still pretty young when that was going on, as you could tell, since they were still having the wakes at home. And the government, I love our government, they stepped in again to make sure you had to use a funeral home. Just make sure that all that money spread around. Well, that funeral cost you $9,000 or just the coffin? Yeah, just the coffin. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Most of us have decided to go with cremation because who the heck wants a $9,000 coffin? What for? This once the spirit leaves, this you don't need anymore. It's not going to do anything. And I don't kind of like the idea of sitting there costing all that and wasting away, 8 feet under or whatever. No. I think the Vikings were right. And if, truthfully, instead of a cremation, they should just stick me on a boat and shoot some flaming arrows at it. We'd be done. But they're catching on to the fact that the baby boomers, however, kind of setting these things up like this, and they're probably going to start charging more for that as well. Everything else has gone up. Truck drivers are still holding on in New York. They aren't delivering. They're not receiving. That's going to get bad real quick. I don't know what New York thinks they're doing with that. Um, I don't know. I agree with the protest. I really do. I don't agree with making the people pay for it. And that's exactly what it's come out to. The drivers themselves that own our equipment are going to hell if they don't go back. And it's not going to change anything. I wish it would, but it's just not going to change. That's not. There is no justice in America, in the American justice system, if you want to call it a system. When you let 11 million illegals come into your country in 3 years, and anybody that flies in for a sports participation, that team has to be quarantined and given shots. But the 11 million they had come over now, that's good. There's a hotel down there. Again, I just said before that New York and New Jersey have had to block off streets because they were coming in at 2 a.m. with those buses full of people. And just, there you go. So, you have to go with the government is very complicit in this. There's no doubt. You can really tear up a country this way. You've torn us up financially. You've torn us up on people. You've sent terrorists into our country. You've sent murderers into our country, and you can't catch them because they're not in your books. They're not fingerprinted. You don't know who did it. So if they murder and they go back across, you can't stop that. Even if they don't, you don't know who did it. You just don't. And that's another reason that was on purpose. And if you're going to run for re-election, what better way to make sure that these guys can vote? They don't have to have ID to vote now. That's what they say. I have to have ID to get in my car. If I was in New York, I'd have to have ID walking down the street because I've been to New York. Not during this mess, thank God I wouldn't go. San Francisco is another place that's about to lose it. Seattle's gone, Gary, Indiana, all these people. And we have so many misplaced people right now that I think if they took us, it would be probably about 500,000 people, or tent living, is what they're calling it. They're spreading them on the streets in front of the stores and so forth and so on, using the sidewalks as bathrooms. It was so bad that they came out and rigged up things so that people could turn them on, these little spigots from that fire hydrant, and they could get water and wash themselves off a little bit. Okay, show of hands. Anybody? Yeah, that's getting beyond crazy. So let's see what we find out about that. In the meantime, I got to go off and be happy and get to the grocery store and not hurt anybody like a husband. I don't know why he does that. I swear he needs his ear check. So everybody trying to do a little better than me today. I still need the likes. And even if it is for entertainment, say that word 3 times fast. Entertainment purposes only. Which I still need. I see my algorithms and it's up, down, down. It's like I get a little peek and then I go, I'm getting dizzy, guys. Hit the like button. Hit the dislike. I don't care. It'll still be on the ground. And even, it's crazy. I mean, they'll tell you how many views, so forth and so on. They don't tell you names, thank God. And that's a little bit too much, but it's kind of interesting to go, okay, how many people saw that? I didn't get any bad reviews. Surely somebody did like that. I see though by my little counter up here, which people see I'm planting it. I do try to bring it under an hour, so I'm going to have to go. I appreciate every one of you guys. I can't say thanks enough. Come and see the hippie at the bar. I promise I won't be snappy. Have a good one out there, folks. Toodles.